Hello students, in this video I will show you how to do question number 5 from homework set number 3. I have noticed that many of you struggled to answer this question, so I'm making this video to make sure that you understand how to do it. So we have a set of data, and the first thing that we want to find is to find the lower class limit in the GFDT, or the grouped frequency distribution table, given that the class width is 5. So in my case, the class width is going to be equal to 5. What I will do to find the lower class limit, you will need to find the minimum of your data. So I went ahead and copied my data, and I will go and paste it into an Excel sheet. Now I will find the minimum. Just to remind myself, I'm going to type in the word min to remind myself that I'm calculating the minimum, and I will use the function min to find the minimum of the data. So you're going to type in the function. As soon as it pops up, you're going to double click it, and it's going to ask you about the numbers. So I'm going to select all of the numbers that I have here, and you click enter. So I know now that my minimum is 15. And since my minimum is 15, I am looking for a number that is a multiple of 5, because that is the class width, and it's less than the minimum or equal to the minimum. And I'm going to make it equal to the minimum since my lower class limit is included. So I'm going to start with 15, that is the lower class limit. And then to find the upper class limit, you're going to find first the lower class limit of the second class. So this is the first class, this is the second class. I know from the question that the class width is, so all I have to do to find that is to say that the lower class limit of the previous class plus the class width, which is 5, is going to be equal to the second class limit, or the lower limit of the second class. And then from the lower limit of the second class, you're going to find the upper class limit of the first class. To find that, you're basically going to say that is basically the lower class limit of the second class minus 1. And then the reason I did operation here and operation there is because I wanted to go ahead and use the automatic function here. So I'm going to drag this down so it will compute automatically for me. And here I will do the same. So I will go to this function. You notice there's a green box at the corner. I just put the cursor on it, and as soon as it changes color or changes shape into a plus sign, black plus sign, I just click and then drag it down. So in this way, I created all of the classes. So it says, what is the lower limit of the first class? I'm going to say 15. So the lower limit of the first class is correct, which is 15. Now I want to express the fourth class as a closed interval. So luckily I built most of the classes here. This is the first class, this is the second, this is the third, and this is the fourth. So the fourth class is basically 30, 34, and I'm going to write it in an interval notation, like so. The next question is asking about the frequency of the fourth class. To find the frequencies of each class, I will use the data analysis tool. So I will go to my Excel sheet, and all I need is the upper class limit. So this is the upper class limit. Let me just write that down. So I need the upper class limit. And I will go to, let me just minimize this so you see what I'm doing. So I will go to the data label, to the data tab, and you notice here that is the data analysis tool. To put the data analysis tool there, if it's not there, you're going to go to file, and you're going to go to options. And from options, you're going to scroll down. Sorry, you're going to click the add-ins, and then make sure this Excel add-ins is selected and click go. Make sure the first box is checked and click OK. So this is how you're going to get the data analysis if it's not there. Now you're going to click on the data analysis tool. And from the data analysis tool, you're going to select histogram and then click OK. For the input range, this is your data. So I'm going to select all of my numbers. And then the bin range is going to be the upper class limit. So I'm going to select the upper class limit. And then I want the data to appear on this sheet. So I'm going to choose output range and I'm going to click here and select any empty cell. And then I will need a chart output. So, and then click OK. You will notice that the first class, I'll remove this histogram, I don't need it. Now you notice that I have a frequency table here. So this is the first class, this is the second class, third class, and fourth class, and the frequency is 11. So to answer that question, I'm going to say that the frequency of the fourth class is 11. And then what is the arithmetic mean for this data? So to find the arithmetic mean, you're just going to use the function average, or you can use the data analysis tool. It's up to you which one you choose. So in this case, I'm going to use the average function just because it's a little bit faster for me. So that is equal to, and then average. Select the data and click enter. So the average is 35.9. I'm going to copy it and go paste it into my homework set. And then the next question is asking about, number 5 is asking, using the table, what is the mode for this data set? And I gave you everything that you need, including the class. So the class that I'm talking about is 35 and 39, which is, in my case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's the fifth. So to find that, you're going to use this formula right here. Upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. So basically, you're going to add 35 plus 39 and then divide by 2. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to say 35 plus 39 and then divide everything by 2. The answer is 37. So I'm going to put that answer in here. Number 6, what is the standard deviation for this data? Again, you could have used the data analysis tool. This will compute the mean and standard deviation right away for you. To find the standard deviation, I'm going to use the function standard deviation.s and then select all of the data and then click enter. The reason why I'm using those functions instead of the data analysis tool is because I have many columns, and data analysis tool requires you to put all of your data in one column, and that is kind of time consuming for me since I don't need more than the mean and the standard deviation. I don't need any other statistics. So that's why I'm using individual functions instead of using the data analysis tool. I'm going to copy this answer and I'm going to head here to the question and paste it. Didn't copy, so let me go ahead and copy it again. The 7th part of this question says, what is the 5-number summary for this data? And we want to separate them by commas. Remember, the 5-number summaries are the minimum, the first quartile, the second quartile or the median, the third quartile, and the maximum in this order. And then you separate them by commas. So to find the 5-number summary, the easiest way to find the 5-number summary is to build Box and Whiskers. So let me copy the data again to another sheet to show you in a separate sheet. So I'm going to copy this data and I'm going to go to a different sheet, paste it, and then I'm going to build the Box and Whiskers. All right. Before we build the Box and Whiskers, I want to make sure that all of my data is in one row, in one column, sorry. So I'm going to cut all of this data and paste it in one column. That is the first step. I recommend doing that always, even if you know that if you put your data in a table, it's not going to hurt you. I would recommend that you put it in one column because it's just a safer option for you. So put it here, cut it, paste, cut it, paste, and then cut everything and paste it. I'm using the Control X and Control V to cut and paste. You're going to highlight all of your data, select all of your data, and then you're going to click on the Insert tab, histogram shape, select Box and Whiskers. You see here I have the Box and Whiskers ready for me. Now I want to display the numbers, so I'm going to click on the plus sign and data labels. Now I see the numbers. The third step is to make sure that you're using the inclusive method instead of the exclusive method. So I'm going to double click on the blue box. A dialog box is going to appear for me. I'm going to use the inclusive median method because I want to include the median in the calculation. Both are correct there, but we're going to stick to the inclusive median method just so we are on the same page, because those could be slightly different. So now I have all of my numbers. I have 15 is the minimum, 30 is the first quartile, and then 36 is the second quartile, and then 42 is the third quartile, and the maximum is 58. So I'm going to type in those numbers in my answer box. Sometimes some of the questions are going to determine the maximum as the highest value, which is an outlier in this case, and both answers will be correct. I mean, if you typed 58 as a maximum or 72 as a maximum, I would consider your answer correct either way, because I can see that the maximum number is 58 and 71 is an outlier, which is the highest number in the data, which is the maximum as well. But if you write maximum is 58, your answer is going to be correct as well. In this specific question, it took the 71. It did not take the 58 as a maximum because the 71 is basically the highest number in the data, and this function in the question did not consider 71 an outlier. So I typed all of this data here, as you can see, and I separated them by comma. 15 is the minimum, 30 is the first quartile, 36 is the median or the second quartile, 42 is the third quartile, and 71 is the maximum and the outlier. And then to find the IQR is basically you're going to find the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile, which is I have here the third quartile is 42 and the first quartile is 30. So 42 minus 30 is 12. So 12, and that is the IQR. Number 9, this might not be a question that we covered yet, so that's why I kept this homework set open for you for another week, and it talks about z-scores. So what usual z-scores, non-outlier, has the largest positive z-score less than z is equal to 2? So first of all, we want to find the data value that corresponds to z is equal to 2. To find that, we're going to use the formula z times the standard deviation plus the mean will give you the corresponding value. And then we will determine the usual score that has larger positive z-score that is less than z is equal to 2. So we're going to do that. You will go here, and I will go ahead and compute the number that is corresponding to z is equal to 2. I have the mean and I have the standard deviation from previous calculations here. I have them here, so I'm going to copy these. And I should go to the second sheet and paste them as values. So I'm going to go here and paste them as values. Now, x, which is the number that I'm looking for, is equal to the z-score, which is 2, times the standard deviation plus the mean. So the number is 55.65. Now I will go here, and first of all, I will organize my data from smallest to greatest so I can look for that number easily. So I will highlight my data, and I will go to the data analysis tool, and I will click on this icon right here to sort my numbers. Now the number 55.65 is between 49 and 58. And the question is saying we want the usual score that has a larger positive z-score less than z is equal to 2. So I'll try this number. The answer is that number 49. Number 10, I want to compute the fences, and I'm going to write them in this format, between square brackets and the upper mild fence first and then the upper extreme fence next. The upper mild fence formula is Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR. I have Q3, which is 42, and I have IQR, which is 12, so I can compute the upper mild fence. And similarly, I will compute the upper extreme fence. So I will go here, and I'm going to say the upper mild fence, and here I'm going to say the upper extreme fence. So the upper mild fence is basically Q3, which is 42, plus 1.5 times 12, which is the IQR. And then the upper extreme fence, we just replace 1.5 by 3. So that is Q3, which is 42, plus plus 3 times IQR, which is 12. So the answer is 60,78. So I'll go to the question here. I'm going to say 60,78. Let me just double check that I got the right numbers and then click enter. And this is how you basically are going to answer this question. I hope this video helped you, and I will see you in a different one.